All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful and honestly complex figures in the Tarot, the King of Swords. This guy is the absolute master of pure intellect, a real archetype of mental power. But as we're about to see, that intellectual sword of his is double-edged. It can be used for justice, or it can be used for tyranny.
So let's just jump right in with a question for you. When you have a really big decision to make, what do you trust more? Your logical head or your emotional heart? Seriously, think about it. Your answer gets right to the very core of what the King of Swords is all about. The incredible power and, yeah, the potential danger of the human mind.
So who exactly is this king? Well, he's basically the embodiment of intellectual authority. This card is all about mental clarity, about truth, and the kind of power that comes from a superstructured, logical mind. You know, he's the ultimate thinker, the master strategist, and that unwavering voice of reason.
Okay, first up, let's meet the king in his highest form, the wise ruler. This is the archetype at its absolute best, the version who uses his incredible intellect not for his own selfish gain, but for the greater good. He's here to create order, to seek truth, and to govern with total fairness and clarity.
And you can kind of see how all these attributes build on each other, right? It's like a ladder to mastery. It all kicks off with structure and routine because that's what builds self-discipline. Then that discipline sharpens his intelligence and logic, which is what gives him his power and authority. But, and this is crucial, that power is always guided by honesty and integrity. He is a classic head-over-heart kind of leader for sure.
If you were to meet him as a person, think of someone mature, totally cool-headed. He might even be an air sign, an Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. He's not really the guy for big public displays of emotion. He processes the world through his mind. But don't mistake that for being cold. He's actually a fantastic conversationalist and is fiercely loyal to the people he cares about. He's just at his best when he has a clear, set routine.
So, okay, that's the theory. But how does this archetype actually pop up in our day-to-day lives? Let's take a look at how this powerful influence shows up in the real world. In love, at work, and even with our health.
In love, for instance, he represents a relationship that's built on this really strong intellectual connection, where you and your partner challenge each other to be better. It's all about high standards and mutual respect. And at work, he's that tough but fair mentor, the one who makes you use facts, not feelings, and whose high standards are the very thing that pushes you to succeed. And even in health, his message is crystal clear. Structure is everything. The path to feeling good isn't complicated. It's just about discipline. Set a bedtime and stick to it. Plan your meals. Structure your workouts. He can also represent that kind of clinical expert, like a surgeon or a consultant, someone who brings pure logic and order to the healing process.
And here it is, the ultimate spiritual advice from the wise ruler. You can read all the books, you can go to all the workshops, you can gather all the knowledge in the world, but at some point, that mental energy has got to turn into action. The king is here to remind us that real wisdom isn't just knowing stuff, it's putting that knowledge into practice. But every single archetype has a shadow. So what happens when that brilliant, logical mind isn't guided by integrity anymore? Well, it corrupts. It turns cold, cruel, and controlling. So now, let's meet the king's dark side, the cold tyrant. And right here, you can see how his greatest strengths twist into his most dangerous weapons. That authority, it becomes oppressive. His logic, it warps into total irrationality the second he's challenged. And his intellectual cool, that turns into cold, ruthless cruelty. The wise ruler's integrity is just gone, replaced with dishonesty. It is a really chilling transformation.
Now, what's really important to get here is that this shadow energy can show up in a couple of different ways. He can be the out-and-out tyrant, power-crazed, aggressive, using his sharp mind to verbally cut people to pieces. Or his intellectual power can just completely collapse, leaving him weak, irrational, and a terrible communicator. Honestly, both are dangerous.
So, what kind of damage are we talking about when this shadow archetype shows up in our lives? I mean, this isn't just some theoretical bad guy. His influence can be genuinely destructive. It can create some serious chaos and pain.
In a relationship, this is what the tyrant sounds like. He uses his logic like a weapon to just dismiss your feelings, to control you, to make you feel small. The source material is very clear on this. When this card is reversed, it can represent a partner who is aggressive, abusive, and sometimes even dangerous.
And this whole destructive pattern, it doesn't just stop with relationships, right? It spills over into everything.
In your career, he's that bullying boss who uses his authority just to intimidate people. In business or finance, his total lack of discipline, the very thing his upright self is a master of, it just leads to chaos, failure, and a whole lot of financial trouble. He really represents losing control and facing bad outcomes.
When it comes to health, the tyrant's energy is all about feeling powerless. You might feel like your doctors just aren't listening to you, or that you have no say in your own treatment. The message here is so powerful. Do not be a passive passenger in your own recovery. You have to reclaim your authority.
So, there we have it. The wise ruler and the cold tyrant. Two sides of the same incredibly powerful coin. The final lesson of the King of Swords is really all about learning how to wield that intellectual sword inside ourselves, with wisdom, with compassion, and with integrity.
And this brings us right to the heart of it, to finding that balance. When the king is upright, when our minds are clear and in line with our values, the advice is simple. Stop thinking about it and start doing it. But when he's reversed, when we feel powerless or manipulated, the advice is the complete opposite. Stop blindly believing what you're being told. It is time to turn on your critical thinking.
And that brings us to our final, and maybe the most important question of all. Take a look at your own life, your own mind, how you use your intellect. Is your inner king a force for clarity, for structure, for integrity? Or has he maybe become a bit of a tyrant, using his power to control, to judge, and to harm? The answer, of course, lies within you.